I revisited another book from my childhood, and this time I went with the classic Nancy Drew, The Mystery at the Lilac Inn, which it turns out tons of people say was their absolute favorite one of her books. So let's dive in. I think what makes this Nancy Drew book especially good is that she has a look-alike that's impersonating her and doing all kinds of terrible things in the name of Nancy Drew. It has the same formula that all Nancy Drew books have. You know, she goes somewhere to have a good time and then has to sleuth out a crime just because she happens to be there. And she's almost killed several times, but then she's captured, and then her dad comes and saves the day. You know, the basic Nancy Drew thing. Of course, at 13, I didn't realize it was a formula, and every time I read the books, I thought, oh, they can't kill Nancy Drew, which is silly because I could look right on the back of the book and see that there were going to be 7 more books made. A friend of mine suggested that this could be an amazing Mad Men type spin-off show, and he is totally right. I mean, check out these illustrations. Who doesn't want to wear pearls to dinner? It's kind of like reading a book, and in my mind, I'm imagining Nancy Drew looked a lot like Betty Draper. Nancy Drew is beautiful, blonde, and so smart. So maybe not so much like Betty. They never mention her having a smoking addiction or that she really loves to have adult beverages before noon. The other thing I love about Nancy Drew is that she was a real feminist. This is a girl who does her own thing. All of her friends are getting married, and she's decided she wants to pursue her career. Although it was a career that doesn't actually pay money, which is a bit confusing to me. She does all this work and she gets lots of accolades and put in the paper, but she doesn't ever actually get paid. Maybe us women should be proud that we get 70 cents on the dollar now. The other thing I loved about this book was the setting. In my mind, it's kind of in the same hotel where they had Dirty Dancing. People come for the summer and enjoy themselves. And there's even a hunky guy who's totally into Nancy Drew. All the other girls are getting married. Maybe Nancy will quit her big non-paying career and get together with John. Okay, there's obviously so much in this book, I'm just going to pick a couple parts. But one I really liked was the blackout. So the lights go out, everybody's alone, and then the lights come back up and Nancy's there, and she has some ideas about how to obviously solve this mystery. Maud asked nervously, "What shall we do now?" "Call the police immediately," Nancy advised. "No," Emily cried out. "If people hear we've had a robbery," she argued, "it may discourage them from coming to Lilac Inn. Calling in the police will mean newspaper publicity. Dick and I have worked too hard to risk it." "I'll be glad to do what I can, Emily, but this is a big assignment. If I don't succeed very soon, will you promise to notify the police?" "It's a bargain, Nancy." Of course they would just ask Nancy. Why would they ask anyone else? Nancy Drew may be amazing and her dad may be a lawyer, but that doesn't mean she's going to find your diamonds. In another part of the book, Nancy wakes up because a clock is ticking, which of course no one's really used to anymore, but yeah, people used to actually set an alarm clock that ticked. So she got up and she noticed that Helen's not in her bed. So she starts walking around the property to try to find Helen. Finds her, knocked out, and of course John's out walking around as well. I wonder if John and Nancy are going to fall in love. But it all works out perfectly. They're heading back to the cottage with Helen, and then there's a loud boom. "That sounded like an explosion," cried Nancy, and she broke into a run. John, carrying Helen, followed as fast as he could. A moment later, Nancy heard a crackling noise and smelled smoke. "John!" Nancy cried in horror. "Look, our cottage is on fire!" So they would have all died, and of course John tells them it's too bad you lost all your clothes. I don't think he thinks it's that terrible. And of course, once again, Nancy decides, meh, the fire's out. I won't call the cops till tomorrow. I don't know why we even need police when we have Nancy Drew. Of course, Nancy is captured and almost dies, but then she's saved. And then her and John go out trying to find the diamonds. And of course, they do skin diving because they're all into that. And at the end of the book, Nancy does actually get paid. Not with cash, of course, but with an amazing little brooch with diamonds in it. Some cash would be nice. And the other interesting thing is, after we've gone through all these crimes and she's trying to help her friends save the Lilac Inn, we find out that the criminal and the lookalike is gay. No, not because of their sexual orientation, because that's their actual name. A very popular name back in the day, so yeah. Some books you read and you think, that's super childish, but Nancy Drew stands up, and I think now I'm going to have to reread the whole series. So I'm loving revisiting books from my childhood, so I'm going to do it again next month with Little House on the Prairie. Who doesn't love Laura Ingalls? And who doesn't love all the misfits and things she gets into with Nellie? So go ahead and read that book if you want to, and then we can tweet about it and talk about it and see if what I was thinking as a kid is the same thing you were thinking.